Welcome to the post-game performance analysis tool. This is one of the many tools that Jen and I have created for our students at Evolving Athlete Academy. Using this tool, any parent can help their student athlete enhance their self-talk, increase their confidence, and build in a resilient way of thinking. On the surface, this looks like a sports analysis tool to help students improve their performance, but it goes much deeper than that. When done consistently, this will help build a resourceful, resilient way of thinking into the student athlete. And that thinking pattern will eventually run automatically. It will enhance their self-talk, and it's very useful in helping to eliminate the fear of making mistakes. So the ultimate goal is to increase resilience, build high-performance self-talk, enhance confidence, and ideally this way of thinking spreads into the rest of their life as well. So some very important rules to going through this process. Number one is maintaining the attitude of non-judgmental curiosity. When you as the parent hold in mind that there is no such thing as failure, only a feedback of information, you help your student athlete take on this belief as well. Non-judgmentally curious because there's no failure, there's no mistakes, it's just information telling us something about what they can work on, what they can improve, what they've been doing well. And a way you can do this is to help encourage your child to be a little excited about their mistakes. And we do this at Evolving Athlete Academy by looking at a mistake as a great thing. It's a treasure box. We see mistakes as a treasure box because every mistake has a little piece of treasure inside that can make us better as an athlete or as a person. So when we have a mistake or we don't get the result we want, what we say is, how fantastic. And this comes from the founder of Neurosemantics. That's where I got it from. And this is a very resourceful way to approach mistakes and losses and results, because feeling bad about our results is not necessarily resourceful, is it? So if we can say how fantastic and we can get optimistic that we're going to figure something out, we're going to take a win from this, we're going to get a win. And that's another attitude that you can take on board, that if you lose a game, then you can make that game a win by taking a bunch of lessons and learnings from that and making yourself better. And if you win a game, you can make it a double win by doing the same thing. So attitude 2 is having a growth mindset. And I encourage the parent to hold this growth mindset in mind. The fact that your child is not fixed, their skill is not fixed. Their skill is going to be determined by the practice they do, by the effort they put in, and by how smart they approach that effort. So it's very supportive to have an unconditional belief in that your student athlete can achieve what they want. And their work ethic just has to match that. So one thing you can do is just with a smile say, look, you can achieve that. You can get to where you want. Your work ethic just has to match your goals. And the final attitude to take in is to just have fun with this. This is about fun, bring a state of joy to it. And with that, it makes it sustainable. So if your child doesn't really want to do it straight after the game because they're in a negative state, this can happen, especially if they experience quite a lot of seriousness or performance anxiety or low confidence. What I recommend is waiting until they've moved through that emotional state and they're back at baseline. They're a bit more neutral. Maybe they're at home, they've had a meal, they've had a shower, and they've relaxed a little bit. It's like, hey, would you want to do that post-game analysis today? Or maybe we can try it tomorrow if you're interested. So in this, the most important thing to remember is to avoid evaluations, avoid opinionated language and evaluations. And we want to instead use observational language and sensory-based facts. And this is one of the key things that, when done over time, will help transform your child's self-talk and ultimately their confidence. So some examples of this is, I had a great game. Well, that is a big generalization for a game. Okay, so great game or a bad game, that's just a generalization, okay? So we really want to avoid that. And that's just one person's perspective. I had many a sports games in my life where I thought I went bad and my coach thought I went good, and vice versa. Okay, so we want to avoid generalizations or opinions or evaluations. We don't want to go there. We don't want to mess with them. Okay, so keep them to the side, and we really want to focus on the sensory-based facts. So I scored 2 goals, or I saved 4 goals. My shots were mostly accurate. My left foot seems to be getting better. So that's still kind of a bit of an evaluation, but it's closer to a sensory-based fact than just these broad, good, bad terms. So when it comes to the final part, taking the learnings, it's really important you focus on the sensory-based facts, and really important you maintain non-judgmental curiosity, and encourage your student athlete to maintain that too. It's just information, it's just learning. There's no good or bad in this case, you know. So when something comes along like I didn't bring my head up enough, how fantastic. Let's figure out why. What's going on there? I felt puffed out in the second half. How fantastic. We just got some self-awareness about your fitness. And now, if you choose to, you can go and do some extra fitness sessions and improve your fitness. I missed 3 goals. How fantastic. You could work on your accuracy, your shooting, and you can improve. So avoid using evaluations, which can be tough, but just do your best. So this is not about you mentoring your child in soccer. I don't know much about soccer myself. I'm starting to learn a bit more, but it's more about facilitating the process. It's more about facilitating them to think for themselves as to how to problem solve. So you're helping them to practice thinking and find their own answers. And if there's something obvious that you do want to share with them, or something you would like to invite them to consider, I recommend you use invitational language and get permission first. And this might sound like, hey, I've got an idea. Do I have permission to share with you? And then you might say, I invite you to consider maybe adding a 20-minute session just with your left foot each week. And that might help improve your left foot. What do you think? Something like that. So as I said before, I don't know a huge amount about soccer, but I understand process. And this is why any parent can do this. They can help the student athlete get conscious of their process of how to resolve the process of as to why they keep making these mistakes, or as to why they didn't perform in the way they wanted to. And we can just ask the question, how does this keep happening, in a non-judgmentally curious way? How fantastic. You missed 3 shots. How fantastic. How does this keep happening? What specifically are you doing for this to keep happening? And more often than not, the student athletes I've worked with figure it out. They're quite smart. When asked the right questions, they can figure it out. And finally, this can be done in depth or a bit faster. Either way, it should only take about 8 to 20 minutes. Good luck with it. Have fun with it. And if you need any support or have any questions, Jen and I are always here and happy to answer. The goals are to find out what you did well in the game, as I said earlier. What are you happy with? What did you do well? Where'd you improve? Celebrating any progress you made, because as we know, especially for high achievers like yourself, we can get caught up in just focusing on all the bad things we did. It's really important to celebrate all the good things. Then we're going to go into find the lessons and the learnings. So remembering mistakes are just feedback, and everyone makes mistakes. Every single person from world-class level to amateur level, we all make mistakes. And essentially mistakes are just a result. You just got a result based on your current skill level, current abilities, and in that mistake is very valuable learnings. Then after that, we want to really dig into the mistakes or the outcomes that you got, and really look for little takeaways. And some takeaways might look like to work on my left foot accuracy. And an example is I might begin practicing 10 minutes per day with my left foot, or develop my fitness so I don't tire in the second half. An example might be I'll start doing an extra 30-minute fitness session each week. And then another takeaway might be improve my 1v1 skill. I'll ask my coach how to work on this at practice, or you can YouTube it, figure out ways to improve your 1v1 skills. And then finally, we want to really let go of the past. And focus on doing your best in the next game. Focus on bringing the takeaways into your future and to improve, to apply them in the future, because that's really the only way we get better. We really only get better from reflecting on our past experience, taking the learnings and lessons, and then applying them to our future attempts, right? Let's jump in. So, Kaylin, you played on Sunday, right?
Yeah.
What progress are you noticing you're making in your development?
Um, like like speed and not getting like tired.
So, I am noticing, you're getting faster.
Yeah.
I'm noticing I'm getting faster. So, what specifically? So, what sensory-based fact? What observation made you notice that you're getting faster?
Like when my teammates like send like the ball down to the corner or something.
Yep.
Um, like I'll get to the ball faster than I would before.
Good. Getting to the ball faster.
Like before when my teammates like cross the ball or send the ball up to me. Like sometimes we're just gonna go like out of bounds or I wouldn't be able to catch up to it.
Yep. Amazing. And it makes sense that you're getting faster from all the track work you've been doing. What's the other thing you've noticed improvement or progress in?
My left foot
Okay.
controlling like my first touch because it's
Um,
not like bouncing off my left foot and going like 5 feet away from me. It's like staying right in front of me, so I'm able to control it.
okay, so you have better control with your left foot.
Yeah,
Anything else you know noticing progress?
my corner kicks.
Nice. Okay. And anything specifically happened on the weekend that you that stood out as to why you feel like your corner kicks are really progressing?
I think like from taking them like a good amount of time, like throughout like games or whatever for like ODP or like whoever, like I think my placement of corner kicks has gotten like a lot better.
Mm. Anything else you want to celebrate in terms of progress?
Not
You,
really, no.
you mentioned your fitness. Is that
Oh, yeah, my fitness.
is that one? Yeah. Is that something you would like to celebrate? Does that feel good?
Yeah,
You've
my fitness level getting like better, I guess you could say. Not getting that like tired on the field.
good. So four great things that you've improved. And now I just want to ask, what else did you do well on the game on Sunday? What else stood out to you, even if it was just one off, whatever it is?
Communicating.
You communicated well.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Anything else?
Give and goes with my team.
Nice. So you're doing really good give and goes. Good. What else?
Sending my team off the field.
Up the field.
Yeah.
Now, to anyone watching this, I just want to point out what Caitlin is doing. She's having to stop and go into her mind, and I'm sending her on a quest with the question to find all the good things that she's doing. And this is a great way to, build confidence and greater self-awareness, a balanced self-awareness, because it's so easy to, as I said earlier, start focusing on only the bad things. And that was one of the things that you had a challenge with when you first came to Jen and I, didn't you, Caitlin?
Yeah.
You're doing so excellent as an athlete, but you were so focused on all the things that you're doing wrong and things. So it's important to have a balance into what you focus on and a balanced self-awareness. Awesome. So sending your team up the field. And one more thing.
Being aggressive towards the ball.
Nice. Being aggressive towards the ball. And sounds like from what you told me, you've handled the aggressive Pennsylvania players well, getting
Yeah.
elbowed and kicked.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. So celebrating that, well done. We in every single game, there's always many things to celebrate. Even in our quote unquote worst games ever, we still do some good things, right? We could have a generalized worst game ever, but there's always something in there to celebrate. Whether it's just I did some straight kicks. I did a few give and goes with once, whatever. So there's always something to celebrate. And it's more important to find the celebrations on the games that you feel like you did terribly at. Um, and all I can say is this is a tool I wish I had when I was younger to really keep my mindset balanced and my self-awareness balanced to the positive. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go into the brainstorm about non-judgmentally, just curiously, and using sensory-based facts. We're going to write about 1 or 3 areas. Or just write in general about some areas that you want to improve on. So, Kaylin, on the weekend, what mistakes happen more than once? What do you feel like you didn't do the way you wanted to?
Holding on to the ball too long.
Okay, holding on. It's important to remember that there's 2 different types of mistakes, right? There's the mistakes where, the absolute best in the world make them. Everyone makes them. So there's the mistakes that just happen in a chaotic sport. It's like, it's just like you drop your phone, you accidentally do something silly. It just happens. It's not really down to skill. It's not down to anything else. It's just a chaotic thing. It happens. And then there's mistakes that happen more than once. And usually when they're happening more than once, they're giving us some information about something we can work on, some valuable information, something we can learn on. Now, holding onto the ball too long, is this something you did a few times, Caitlin?
Yeah.
You did. Cool. And okay, great. So holding onto the ball too long. Good. So that sounds like it's something that might have some valuable information in there. So how fantastic. The average student athlete's mindset is to feel bad about mistakes when we want to actually celebrate them, because in a moment you'll see how valuable they can be and they can really give you so much. So when we make a mistake, how fantastic. This is teaching me. This mistake teaches me. And this is something I took from Dr. Michael Hall of neurosemantics, by the way. So, Caitlin, what else? Anything else that you made a mistake, or any other anything else that didn't go the way you wanted it to?
Didn't pick my head up that much.
And there was a few specific sensory-based fact times that said this, or your coach mentioned this, didn't he?
Yeah.
Okay. So didn't pick my head up too much. Okay, and how many do you reckon this happened? What, a few times?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Anything else?
Not that I can think of now.
Great. So in this game, there was 2 areas that you can learn from specifically. Great. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop these down in here, accepting what is, accepting what happened. You made these mistakes. Now, reflecting on the mistakes is what will make you better and make you stop making the mistakes. Not embracing the mistakes, rejecting the mistakes, we'll just keep making them. So we want to look at the mistakes and see what we can do with them, see what valuable information's in there. Okay, so Kaylin, how specifically do you do number 1? You're holding onto the ball too long. So let's brainstorm this. How are you doing this? What do you think you are doing for that to keep happening? So right now, non-judgmentally, just getting curious. Let's look for how does this keep happening?
I think it like has something to do with like number 2 because like me not picking my head up and not seeing my teammates.
Okay. Okay. So when you say number 2, what does that mean? Because is that you're sitting? Is that a new position you're playing or something? Or
Like number 2, I didn't like pick my head up too much. Like me not lifting my head up and
oh,
seeing my teammates.
okay, it had something to do with this. Okay. Okay. So I wasn't sure about that. Okay. So okay. So it had something to do with not picking your head up too much. So do you think it might be valuable to first focus on number 2?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that and see what happens. So, Caitlin, I didn't pick my head up too much. How specifically do you do this? What do you think you're doing for that to keep happening?
Um, me just focusing on like the defender on like what's in front of me or me wanting to go to the net instead of seeing like my teammates who are like open or like calling for the ball.
Okay, so you're focusing on the defender too much. So I'm just trying to understand this in my mind. So you don't pick your head up. You're making this mistake because you're focusing on the defender too much.
Yeah.
Okay, focusing on the defender too much. Um, anything? What was the other thing you said? You're focusing on something else.
Um, like just going to the net instead of like seeing if one of my teammates are open or like
Mm,
one of my teammates like calling for the ball.
good. Okay, so okay, good. And now I want to just explore this a little more, even though we haven't got room here. It's really valuable to keep going this. So you're doing this, what do you think we can just ask the same question? So basically what you've said is you're focusing on the defender too much and you're going to the net instead of seeing if a teammate is open. What do you think what do you think you were doing for that to keep happening? Why do you think you keep doing that?
Um, cause like even though like maybe like I'm not all about like oh like I'm the one who has to score or I'm the one who has to have like the winning goal or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, like I want to get around like the defender to get like the perfect cross or the like a really good cross to one of my teammates so they have like a good opportunity instead of um making that like cross now and them getting that opportunity sooner than
Hmm.
like when they're open and when they're calling for it instead of waiting like an extra second or two for that defender to catch up to them.
Okay. So in exploring this, do you feel like you have enough self-awareness now to know to move on to this? What can you do differently in order to get a new result?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Let's hear it. What could you do differently? And just I just want to point out that see how like I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm just inviting you to begin to think for yourself, and through this, you're getting smarter. You're having to go in and think, and you're coming up with the right answers for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So what can you begin to do differently in order to get a new result?
In the beginning of the game or 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 like on the ride like to the game like talk to myself that like I don't need like the perfect pass for something to happen or I don't need like the perfect cross because like something like even something sloppy can happen and like or a sloppy cross or something like that and it could be like a better opportunity than holding on to the ball too long and getting it taken away instead of taking that like simple chance and maybe something will happen.
Mm, okay, so reminding yourself pre-game. How would you say all that in like a few words?
Um, like reminding myself pre-game that um it doesn't have to be perfect.
There we go. Doesn't have to be perfect. And what specifically doesn't have to be perfect?
Like the crosses or um like the passes mostly.
So passes don't have to be perfect, right?
Yeah.
Passes, and we could say passes and crosses um don't have to be perfect. Is that right?
Yeah.
Does that feel good if you were to remind yourself thinking about that? Yeah.
Yeah, cuz I wouldn't hold on to the ball that long
Good.
and like I would get rid of it faster instead of like okay, I have to get around this defender so I have more room to make a better cross or a
Hmm.
better pass to my teammate instead of like having that distance like from that defender now and making that um somewhat maybe better like
Hmm.
cross.
Amazing. Now question for you. Um, this is I love this. reminding yourself pre-game. Now, is there anything that you can do? Because like the game is like it's the it's it. The game is the game. Is there anything you can do in practice, or is there any form of rehearsal other than this kind of mental rehearsal? Is there anything you can do in your practice that might help you in this?
Um, like kind of like scrimmages, like half of the team has just the regular jerseys on, or
Mm-hmm.
the other half has pennies on. Um, just reminding my like in my head is like no matter what, it's two touch instead of holding the ball too long and trying to get around my own like teammate or whatever. Um,
So could we say two touch in practice?
yeah,
So always, so just go, so practicing two touch in practice. Is that what you would call it?
yeah,
Cool. And now, Caitlin, if you practice two touch in practice, I might even move this to the start. If you practice two touch in practice and you reminded yourself pre-game that passes and crosses don't have to be perfect, and remember why they don't have to be perfect, would that make, do you think that would make a big difference to picking your head up?
yeah,
Okay, good. So you think that would really begin to help you pick your head up more and really resolve that there. Good. And anything else you want to add to that? Anything else that comes up for you, or is that sufficient?
not that I can think of now.
Cool. Now, if 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 you were ever were in a situation where you couldn't think of something, or that you maybe you just like you get the sense that maybe there is something else I could do and I just don't know. I don't know what I don't know. You could always go and ask your coach and just say, because again, I know your coach said he even mentioned that you weren't picking your head up enough. Did he mention how to resolve that?
No.
No. So you could approach your coach, ask them, get some coaching off him, or even go on the YouTube and discover that for yourself. Um, or I'm not a soccer person, or you could connect with Jen, send her a message. that might help too. Um, great. So let's say we've done this, Kaylin. What is this still a thing? Or is that resolved that?
It resolves number one too.
It does. That's cool. So you sure? So holding on the ball too long. If you were to do this, I guess it makes sense. Say you practice two touch and remind yourself of this. Would that resolve both of them, one and two?
Yeah.
Amazing. Well done. So very cool. So you had two mistakes that you probably didn't feel great about after, right? After the game. Your coach said that it doesn't feel good. But we want to change that feeling bad, because feeling bad, does it help? Question to
No.
you. So really we want to go, oh, how fantastic. There is something I can learn here. And then when we just dive into it, we've been 10, 15 minutes, whatever it is. And would you say that the fact that you had these and we dove into that, was that a valuable little reminder for you or lesson and something to help you take a new action to get a new result? Do you think that was valuable for you today?
Yes.
Okay. Now, was it sufficient? Was that enough sufficient learnings for you to be able to let go of the game now and focus on your future?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So this is the last part, letting go of the past and to focus on the future. So really saying to yourself, you can say to yourself, do you want to say it out loud right now?
Sure.
Okay. So I did my best. I'm getting better.
I did my best and I'm getting better.
Okay. Because remember, we might say, well, I didn't do my best, but you did do your best on that day, because our best fluctuates. We did our best because that's what we did. We can't do better than our best. And that's what you did on the weekend. So you did your best and getting better. I have now reflected on my past and I've taken valuable learnings.
I have now reflected on my past and I have taken valuable learnings.
Awesome. When I apply these learnings, I will improve.
when I apply these learnings, I will improve.
Yep. That game is now in the past, and that's where I'm going to leave it.
That that game is now in the past, and that's where I'm gonna leave it.
Yeah. I'm now going to focus on doing my best in the next game and my practice. So whatever you
I'm
do.
now going to focus on doing my best in the next practice or game.
Well done. That is the post performance analysis. And I just want to also share with you that this same thinking through things, celebrating, looking for the mistakes, finding the learnings, and then letting go of the past once you have the learnings, this can be applied to any other area of your life too. Right? So it can be applied to school, it can be applied to friendship situations, social situations, leadership, pretty much any area of your life. Thank you so much for joining me on this, Kaylin, and I look forward to seeing you in the future.